Yeah, 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 yeah. First off, can't play me, I ain't no Xbox. I'm pulling up, busting windows. I'm at your mama's spot, kicking cups, smacking dice. I'll make this block hot. No trapping here, slacking where? Wait, get your home right. I'm sick and tired of fucking crying and sleepless nights. Bitches approaching me, telling me they don't know of me. Oh, you think you slick? You think you got one up? You better ask my last nigga, cut his ass right up. Yeah. Can't cry for spilled milk if I knew it was rotten. And all these memories we had, they was quickly forgotten. Oh, this nigga think he's smooth, he tryna cast it over me. Keep him lying through his teeth, leave his ass like can we be? No pink turtlenecks, but I'm feeling bad. You left, I can't let him go, but watch me loosen up. My grip, I'm hopping in my bag. I'm talking about that go wall. Shit, I need a couple bags. Ain't talking about no go yard, bitch. You geeking for? I'm really about to drag and gon' cry no more. I had to tell that nigga stop playing with me before they find this picture on murder me. Be more careful with me. I ain't like these other bitches that you used to better. That's the way you handling me. I told you just be careful with me. You better be more careful with me. I ain't like these other bitches that you used to better. Watch the way you handling me.
Hello, my darlings. Much love, hugs, and kisses to all those entering the room. This is the next installment of Be More Careful. We are now in part 3. Be More Careful, the revised edition. I will be reading from the Kindle edition specifically. By the king of urban fiction, Shannon Holmes. Shannon Holmes wrote his first novel, Be More Careful, while in prison. When it was published, Be More Careful immediately became a #1 bestseller, making him a major name in a new generation of hip hop fiction. He followed Be More Careful with the bestsellers Bad Girls and Never Go Home Again. He lives in North Carolina with his wife and their 2 daughters. We will be starting in part 3, which actually starts with chapter 18. So we started it the last installment. This is chapter 19. On Monroe and Fayette Street, Tone sat inside Man's new gold Lexus coupe, blasting his system as he waited for Man to finish handling his business. The years had been good to both of them. They had a successful run in Baltimore, dealing drugs for 4 years without getting locked up. Their longevity was matched by few. During that time span, they'd seen a lot of New Yorkers come and go. Most of their friends and people they knew were either dead or indicted. Much love, hugs, and kisses, dogs. Yet, more and more kept coming down to Baltimore, wave after wave. No one seemed to get the message that things weren't as sweet as they used to be. Much love, hugs, and kisses, dogs. Cats were coming home from jail with an anti-New York attitude, and the murder rate was steadily rising. Things were hectic in the streets. Zoning out, listening to rap music, Tone spotted a yellow Range Rover pull up. The bright color of the truck caught his eye. He watched as the truck parked a few cars in front of him. The driver's door opened, and a beautiful, dark-skinned female stepped out the truck and began unloading groceries. Snatching the keys out of the ignition, Tone walked over to assist her to run some game. Much love, hugs, and kisses. Excuse me, miss, with the slim waist and the pretty face. You need a hand with that, ma? Tone politely asked as he undressed her with his eyes. Damn! You scared me. It's not polite to creep up on people like that, said Netta, caught off guard. My bad, ma. I didn't mean to scare you. I see you struggling with the bags and being the gentleman I am. I figured I'd help you, Tone said, flashing his megawatt smile that brought a grin to Netta's face. I could use a hand, New York, Netta replied, picking up his accent. Thanks, she added, handing him the last 2 grocery bags before closing her trunk. Tone waited for Netta to secure her car, and together they walked toward her house, where the other bags sat on the steps. Damn, Ma, what you got in here? These shits is heavy, word, said Tone, not realizing Netta had deliberately given him all the heavy bags to carry while she toted the light ones. A strong nigga like you shouldn't have no problem carrying them bags, said Netta playfully. Oh, I don't got no problems. I'm just trying to figure out where your man is at, he asked, trying to get some information on her status. Was she single or seeing somebody? Either way, it didn't matter. Tone just wanted to know so he'd know how to come at her. I don't got no man, Netta stated, thinking about 4 years ago when the last man she had was black. I'm high maintenance, and these niggas is low budget. They got champagne taste and beer money. You got to spend money on this. As you can see, I'm used to nice things. Damn, Ma, what part of the game is that? You on some real extra shit, said Tone, knowing her kind. This broad is nothing but a gold digger. But he felt he could handle her. After all, he was from the big city, and there wasn't any gold digger worse than one from New York. The part of the game you wouldn't understand if your money ain't long, New York, Netta shot back with a sexy attitude, putting her hand on her hip. Say word, laughed Toe. Word, New York. Ma, look at my mom's ain't never, excuse me, Ma, look, my mom's ain't named me New York neither. Yo, every New York nigga out this piece is called New York. That's just where I'm from. My name is Tone. What's yours? Much love, hugs, and kisses to all my darlings. It's her in the room. He asked, making the introduction, liking her style. So, this must be New York Tone I've been hearing about. I'm Netta, she answered with a smile. Check this out, Netta. What's up with me and you? Can a nigga take you out to get something to eat or what? Get to know you a little better? He asked, hoping she said yes. No doubt. We could do something tonight. I ain't got nothing planned. As they conversed, Mimi showed up, followed by Man. They were both introduced and talked amongst themselves as the other members of the Pussy Pound started pulling up in their various cars. Tone and Man couldn't believe their eyes. All these chicks were drop dead gorgeous. After watching the town parade of ghetto super starlets go by, Tone and Man were ready to follow the pack up in the crib. Yo, can we chill with y'all? Asked Man. Nah, it's a private club, ladies only. We about to get blunted and kick it. You know, girly shit, yo. Man left it at that and continued to exchange numbers with Mimi, as Netta and Tone did the same. So, shit is on for tonight. I'll be back around 8:30, but I'ma call before I come, said Tone. All right, see you tonight. Don't be late, she replied as she went inside her house to join her clique. She never noticed the black truck parked on the corner of her block. She never noticed its driver. Black watched her as she disappeared behind a closed door. Locating Netta wasn't hard. Even after 4 years of imprisonment, she still lived in the same house and was still driving the same car he'd given her as an engagement present, the Yellow Range. He never thought she'd be driving the same whip. Obviously, she hadn't gotten wind of his release, or she would have been long gone. That's the very reason why Black insisted on no parties or celebrations. He wanted to keep it on the down low. He wanted to take Netta and Baltimore by storm. As it stood, only his lawyer, his family, and the inmates back in jail knew he had been released. He had to move quickly. The element of surprise as well as timing was on his side. The streets didn't know he was out, but soon they would. Running errands all day, Netta was unaware that she was being followed. Black had watched her every move. He followed her to the cleaners, beauty parlor, and the supermarket. All over the city and everywhere she went, he was with her, like a shadow. He watched and he waited for his opportunity to strike. Patiently, Black sat in his car on the corner of the block and waited for his chance. Every time he thought he had her alone, someone else would show up and spoil his plans. He wanted Netta in a secluded spot where they could be alone, just the two of them. But she kept going to public places where there were too many people around. Since he couldn't catch her how he wanted, Black decided to bide his time until the moment was right. He'd waited 4 years to have this moment, and he wanted it to be perfect. Reclining in her chair, Netta opened her eyes. She looked over at Mimi. I hope she ain't still mad. Netta figured she had been a little hard on Mimi earlier when they had argued about Kev trying to bid off her. She just wanted Mimi to play it smart. It was really a small thing, but Mimi took it so personal. She thought Netta was purposely trying to disrespect her in front of the clique. This ain't over, Mimi promised herself. Just then, the phone rang, and Netta reached over the side of the chair arm and picked the cordless off the floor. It was Tone making sure they were still on for tonight. Instead of picking her up, though, he wanted to meet her at the restaurant instead, claiming he had to handle some unexpected business. Netta agreed, preferring to drive her own car anyway. That way, if he started tripping, she'd be free to leave. Much love, hugs, and kisses to all my darlings in the room. As the sun set and the skyline grew orange and pink, Black began to grow impatient. He was ready to run up in Netta's house and kill all of them. Just as he was contemplating the thought, Netta and company began exiting the house. So, this must be the pussy pound, he thought to himself. Black didn't recognize Petey, Rashida, or Fila, but he recognized Mimi. Black could never forget a face as pretty as hers, or the way she used to open her legs in front of him when Netta wasn't around. No, he certainly couldn't forget Miss Mimi. She still looks good. Mimi done got as thick as Netta. Look at her ass. Maybe I should have messed with her. She probably wouldn't have done me dirty like Netta did. All these thoughts popped in his head. They quickly disappeared. Fuck all them hoes, Black finally said, his true feelings having emerged. Going their separate ways, the Pussy Pound jumped into their individual cars and rolled out. Netta got in her truck and headed towards the restaurant. She was on her way to meet Tone downtown. This was the opportunity Black had been waiting for all day. He followed her for several blocks, hoping she'd come to a deserted intersection where he could make his move. At the light ahead, there was a three-car accident, and the police were redirecting the flow of traffic. Seeing this, Netta turned off on a side street, hoping to beat the traffic. Doing so, she played right into Black's hand. He took the same detour, following closely behind her. Black put the pedal to the metal. This was his golden opportunity. He had waited for 4 years, and he wasn't about to let her get away. Taking the side blocks downtown, Netta was unaware of the black GMC Jimmy that was behind her Range Rover. At the next corner, Black caught up to her and gently bumped her bumper. It wasn't enough to cause her injury, just enough to cause her to want to check for damages. What the fuck? Netta seethed through her teeth as her body jerked from the impact of the vehicle behind her. She immediately looked in her rearview mirror to see who had rear-ended her truck. She spotted a tinted black Jimmy pulling over in the middle of the block, and seeing that the truck was pulling over as well, Netta hopped out her vehicle with license and registration in hand. She inspected her truck. The damage was minor. Only her tail light was cracked. However, with her car being foreign, damage this small could still be expensive to fix. Why hasn't he gotten out to look at what he's done to my truck? Thought Netta as the sight of her truck began to infuriate her. Remembering Tone, she looked at her watch and began to walk swiftly back towards the truck. Must belong to a hustler, and if it does, that nigga might as well break me off right now or be ready for the police to take an accident report. I might have a lawsuit. I might need some medical attention. Netta's mind couldn't help but to scheme on ways to get paid. Netta couldn't see through the heavily tinted windows of the Jimmy. All she could make out was the driver was a male. This nigga ain't important, she thought, wondering why he hadn't gotten out or even rolled down his window. The average person would have apologized by now. I think since he's on some extra shit, I'ma get a police report, call my lawyer, and sue his ass. Get the fuck out the car or roll down the fucking window. I'm in a rush, nigga, she said, striking a defiant pose, hand on her hips, teeth clenched. Instantly, the driver's window began to descend slowly, revealing more and more of the dark figure inside the car. Netta's expression quickly changed. She almost began to pee on herself when she saw Black's face. Oh shit! Black! When you get out? She said as loud as she gawked at him, paralyzed from fear. For an instant, there was nothing but an expressionless stare between the two of them. Netta was desperately trying to gauge his temperament. Is he mad? Does he want his Range Rover back? This was easier than Black thought it would be. He didn't have to kidnap her, or tie her up, or duct tape her. She got in the truck with him willingly. Black, I swear on my mother's grave, yo, it wasn't me who took the money. It was Stan. Stan said fuck you when I asked him for it. I tried to tell him, but Netta explained, talking so fast Black could hardly keep up with her. Netta was seriously trying to pin that shit on someone else. She swore on a stack of Bibles and lied on a dead man, using everything in her power to try and convince him of her innocence. But the guilty speak the loudest. Whether she knew it or not, Black already had his mind made up. So, all that shit she was talking went in one ear and out the other. Absorbing every word of this one-sided conversation, Black didn't believe Netta for 1 minute. And what was really ticking him off was how she lied on Stan. Poor Stan wasn't around to defend himself. He was murdered while Black was locked down. Never once did Black let his true feelings show. There would be plenty of time for him to vent his anger soon enough. For now, he was playing her game. This bitch must done lost her mind. Time to pay the piper, bitch. Tone sat at Moles on Alba. No, y'all gonna excuse me for the way I pronounce this. I'm from Baltimore and I still fuck this name up since I was a kid, okay? And I love this restaurant. So I'm about to try and not fuck this street name up. Because I just say Moe's downtown Little Italy. I never say the street, okay? Here we go. Tone sat in Moe's on Albemarle Street, finishing the last of his crab cake dinner. He glanced down at the Cartier watch on his wrist. 9:30? Where this broad at? Tone had given her the benefit of the doubt, but was now not sure that Netta had stood him up. Who do she think she is? He thought to himself, getting heated. Tone had so many girls trying to get with him on the east side and west side that he didn't have to eat alone. That's it, I'm out, Tone thought as he stood from the table. Disappointed, he paid his bill and left the restaurant. One monkey don't stop no show. And Tone wasn't about to call it a night just 'cause Netta stood him up. His girl was studying for her final exams and didn't want to be bothered. And man was at the movies with some chick. What the hell? I'm downtown already. I might as well swing by El Dorado's. Tone wanted to unwind, and watching strippers dance was one of his many relaxing techniques. In the downtown hotel, Netta and Black were already engaging in sex. This was Black's first piece of pussy in 4 years. Yet the way he was acting, one would have thought it was his last. Come here, he growled, as he drove his well-endowed manhood deeper into her. The powerful short strokes caused Netta to bang her head up against the headboard with each thrust. Pinching her nipples, Black wanted, excuse me. Damn, I even, y'all excuse me one more. I tongue twisted so much, I actually messed up there really badly. Okay. Pinching her nipples, Black watched as she grimaced in pain. Too scared to tell him to stop, Netta suffered in silence, growing tired of the missionary position he had her in. Finally, he flipped her over and penetrated her from the back, doggy style. Going through the motions, the multiple sex positions, she felt nothing, no pleasure, just brute force. Why did I come with him? Why did I get in his truck? There were questions that were going through her mind as he dug in and out of her. She was praying that he'd hurry up and come so this rough tirade could come to an end. But it would get worse before it got better. Having his way and humping away like a crazed dog in heat, Black smacked her ass cheeks so hard that each smack caused Netta to wince and sigh. This turned him on so much he purposely hit her harder. Suddenly, as if it were over, Black pulled his penis out of her vagina and without warning slammed it into her anus, causing Netta to fall flat on her stomach as she tried to get his dick out of her asshole. Take it out! Take it out! She screamed, her cries only exciting him even more. On top of her applying his full body weight, he began to hump his body into hers. The pain and agony was too much for her, and she screamed, trying to fight him off. It was no use. Black pinned her down and placed her in a chokehold. She was all his now. The pain was so excruciating. Netta felt like she would black out. The tears were a puddle under her face, and all she could feel was Black stretching her asshole wider and wider. Well, some of these bitches around here, let me keep reading. Um, before I digress. He was enjoying himself so much that he had blocked out her cries and her screams of agony. Excuse me. A foul stench began to pollute the air. Mercilessly, Black disregarded it and kept going. Never mind the foul odor or the blood that was ripping from her insides. This was payback. He wanted to demoralize her and humiliate her and teach her a lesson that for 4 years she needed to learn. Eldorado's was packed, but Tone, being the regular, he was managed somehow to get a seat with a nice view of the stage. He sat nursing two overpriced bottles of Heineken, while his eyes searched the dimly lit club for a stripper named Peaches. Up on the stage, two strippers were doing their thing, jiggling, wiggling, shaking, and grinding what their mamas gave them. Tone watched as guys hooted and hollered and stuffed dollar bills in their G strings. Hustlers from New York and Baltimore were in the house. Each clique was trying to outdo the next. Bottles of Cristal, Belvedere, and Chambord adorned the tables, along with Dom and Alizé Red. For New York, the hot drink was Belve mixed with Chambord. If you didn't have any Chambord, then it wasn't Belve. The boys were rowdy, loud, and obnoxious. They wanted to show the New York boys whose house they were in and who was running the spot. Laid back in the cut, Tone peeped the whole scene, wanting no parts of it. He knew a few people in each group, and he also knew just how quick tempers could flare. Fun and games easily escalated to gunplay. Tone just wanted his dick sucked, and that was it. Speaking of the devil, there was Peaches, serving some gentleman customers a few yards away. Hey, Peaches, come here, Ma, said Tone, waving $100 bill in his hand. Ben will get her attention, he thought as he saw her spot the big face. She walked right over wearing nothing but a G-string and high heels. Her big, firm brown titties bounced with every step. She had the classic stripper look, caked on makeup, fake airbrush nails, long hair weave, and a tribal tattoo. Tone, what's up, yo? Where you been hiding? She asked, happily wanting to take the money out of his hand. P, I've been up top for a minute, you know. I had to let my peeps know a nigga's alright. Tone replied, lying. Well, nigga, what's up? When me and you gonna get together again? She asked boldly as if she was reading his mind. Yo, Ma, the way you look in them heels, we could leave the club right now, Tone anxiously responded. Peaches flicked out her tongue at him, exposing her new piercing, something she planned on using on him tonight. You know what time we close? Meet me out front and wait for me, y'all, she said. Okay, no problem, Tone answered. Wait a minute, you always switching cars. What you driving now? I know it's something different. I got a white BMW M3, Tone proudly stated. I hope it's a stick. You know how much I like sticks, she reminded him, blowing a kiss before turning to walk away. She knew Tone was money in the bank, and he always played fair. She'd go out with that nigga whenever he wanted her to. Still violating Netta's rectum, Black pounded away till he was on the verge of exploding, then withdrew his feces-coated penis and came all over her butt and back. As quickly as she could, Netta made a mad dash for the bathroom. Barely walking straight, she had to shit so bad she felt like she wouldn't make it to the toilet. Slamming the door behind her, she barely reached the toilet in time. The shit hit the water like a ton of bricks. Relieving herself felt good, but it still didn't take away the pain and throbbing. She was raw and sore, very sore, and bleeding. Netta took a hot shower in an attempt to cleanse her body. She wanted a bath to soak in, but she'd have to wait for that until she got home. In the bathroom with the door locked, she felt safe, more like relieved. Black was out of order. He was on some other time. Netta was scared of him. Scared to come out of the shower. What am I going to do? She thought, thinking of how she'd exit the bathroom and leave him in the hotel room. Meanwhile, Black was in the room, wiping the shit off his dick with her silk blouse. Bitch, you ain't shit for real, he chuckled, really feeling himself. To him, Netta was nothing but a whore, and he was going to treat her like one. When he finished disrespecting her clothes, Black started doubling up some wire hangers. He was about to bring the pain.
Come on, try to make you understand. Be more careful, better watch your step. Cats get caught slipping and their shirts is wet. Quiet is kept, we scheming where that work is kept. It's beef in the east, protect your chest in the west. Be more careful, better watch your step. Cats get caught slipping and their shirts is wet. Quiet is kept, we scheming where that work is kept. It's Baltimore, we know for money, murder, and sex. Murphy Homes, the land of the chrome and the raw bone. Yellow tape, vicinity, able to court zone. Ammunition, ranging from text the crossbows, run up in grids, quick to put the pistol cross stones. We reppin' it, it ain't no secret. Taurus between the pelvis and the briefs. We got pieces that will rip off pieces. Double clips take together will endanger the species. My pride now mixed with raw, so my paper increases. I make $1 million on a busy corner. Master killers with a vicious formula. Gotta run, bounce to California. Y'all niggas know how Baltimore is. Stay sending bad work to the mortician and the florist. When I'm out of town, it's getting extorted. Then escorted to the city limits. Minus that 6-digit fortune. These locals are compelled by them evil forces. While haters get 18 holes like they up in golf courses. Be more careful, better watch your step. Cats get caught slipping and their shirts is wet. Quiet is kept, we scheming where that work is kept. It's beef in the east, protect your chest in the west. Be more careful, better watch your step. Cats get caught slipping and their shirts is wet. Quiet is kept, we scheming where that work is kept. It's Baltimore, we know for money, murder, and sex. From my locks and my gems and my all black. Saw hoodlum, war wounds and battle incisions granted me wisdom. Plenty gold, helped me as a child in his bosom. Feeding me the milk of the world. I was given the game and taught the rules. My urban wizards got you words with his flow. It's superb and vicious. Matter of fact, got you more. It's intense and malicious. Yeah, don't get it fucked up. I like to send a shout out to all my bitches from the knock 'em down to the pussy pound. Keep it tight, my bitches, cause every day in the underworld we facing dilemmas. Do we run or bust that gun? We'll face it together, my niggas. Sell pot, running forward with big plans and big decisions. Ain't stopping our hustle, so keep it together, my niggas. It's one love. All it takes is one snitch to ruin it all. Keep your circle close knit, cause a brick house won't fall. Keep your basement door locked, don't let them rats infiltrate. Cause if you see one, then you got 20 that poison the food on your plate. Listen, build your man, cause I got a plan to make it right. Please don't come through tripping, cause you won't make it through the night. You get be more careful, better watch your step. Cats get caught slipping and their shirts is wet. Quiet is kept, we scheming where that work is kept. There's beef in the east, protect your chest in the west. Be more careful, better watch your step. Cats get caught slipping and they shirts is wet. Quiet is kept, we scheming where that work is kept. It's Baltimore, we know for money, murder, and sex. Be more careful, better watch your step. Cats get caught slipping and they shirts is wet. Quiet is kept, we scheming where that work is kept. It's beef in the east, protect your chest in the west. Be more careful, better watch your step. Cats get caught slipping and they shirts is wet. Quiet is kept, we scheming where that work is kept. It's Baltimore, we know for money, murder, and sex. Amen.
Chapter 20. Peaches, I wish you'd hurry the fuck up, Tone impatiently shouted. How your fucking horses, yo? I'm coming. Tone laid in the bed, butt naked, puffing some Branson he'd copped the last time he was up in New York. The weed was making him horny. It seemed like forever for them to get to the hotel, and even longer for her to get her ass in the bed. All he was thinking about was her pierced tongue and all the places Peaches would lick him with it. Peaches was about her business, and she knew how to satisfy a man well. Like the entertainer she was, Peaches made a grand entrance. She stood in the frame of the bathroom door, posing, wearing only her birthday suit and a pair of red leather thigh-high boots. She tongue twisted again. She seductively strolled across the room and over to the bed. Still taking tokes on the blunt, Tone watched her move toward him in slow motion. Peaches came over and knelt down beside the bed, grabbing his manhood. She proceeded to give him a blowjob fit for a king, sans the ranch dressing. That was petty. I added that part. Okay, I'm going to read that sentence again. That was petty. I'm going to read that sentence again. That was not part of the book. Peaches came over and knelt beside the bed, grabbing his manhood. She proceeded to give him a blowjob fit for a king. Tone's toes began to curl. Her pillow-soft lips and tongue stroked his dick up and down. The earring that was attached to her tongue felt strange but real good. Tone was loving every minute of it. He had totally forgotten about Netta. This is what's up, he thought to himself. This is what I've been waiting for all night. Spirit of the petty, I'm telling you. As soon as Netta opened the bathroom door, she sensed something was very wrong. Darkness stared in front of her, and she could not see Black squatted against the wall waiting for her. Now, all she wanted to do was get her clothes and leave. But it wasn't going to happen that way. Like a cat silently stalking a mouse, Black waited for Netta to get in striking distance. When she got close enough, he sprang from out of the darkness and cold-cocked her. Bang! The first blow from his fist caught her directly on the temple, taking the fight right out of her. Netta was on Queer Street, punch and drunk. Punch drunk, and she staggered across the room, trying to make it to the bed. Black rained down blows from every angle to every part of her body. Unable to maintain her balance, Netta fell to the floor. After rendering her helpless, Black walked over to the nightstand and grabbed his pimp sticks. Bitch, you ain't think you was ever going to see Black again, huh? Think you can steal from Black and get away with it, huh? He barked at the fallen figure on the floor like a madman. While in the jail, Black picked up a bad habit of talking to himself. He started referring to himself in the third person. Ho, you cross Black, yo. Now you gonna pay for the cost to be the boss, bitch, he said, standing over her, pointing his instrument of pain. Groaning and groggy, Netta could barely make out what Black was saying. She struggled to get back on her feet by grabbing hold of the corner of the dresser, but she couldn't pull herself up. Each time she tried, she stumbled back to the floor. On her next attempt, Black reached his arm way back and brought the wire hangers down so hard that they whistled through the air. Whack! 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 He repeatedly lashed her he repeatedly lashed her on the back. Simultaneously, she let out blood-curdling screams. Ah! Her screams only excited Black. He continued to beat her until he drew blood, and like magic, long welt marks appeared across her face, neck, chest, back, thighs, buttocks, and legs. Next door, Peaches straddled Tone and began riding him like a wild bronco. Up and down, around and around, she moved her hips rapidly, whipping it on him. Then suddenly, she came to a grinding halt. She thought she heard her scream. Ah! There it was again. Now she was sure. Underneath her, Tone was puzzled by her lack of movement. He gently smacked Peaches on her big butt and began grinding her back in an attempt to remind her of what they were doing and why they were there. P, why you stop? Come on, baby. I was just about to bust a nut. What you doing? Peaches didn't even respond. Her full attention was focused on the wall in front of her and what was behind it in the next room. Did you hear that? She said, her eyebrows frowned with her finger at her lips, telling Tone to be quiet. Somebody's getting the shit beat out of them next door. No sooner than those words left her mouth, another ear-piercing scream penetrated through the walls. Peaches looked down at Tone. I know you heard that, yo. Jumping off of him, she ran naked around the bed and up to the wall to get a better listen. Mad as all hell, Tone reluctantly got out of the bed to join her. With their ears pressed to the wall, all they could hear was a muffled male voice cursing somebody out. Bits and pieces of what he was yelling could be heard. Bitch, you sorry now, ain't you? You should have never crossed me, bitch. You sorry, ain't you? Well, don't be sorry now, motherfucker. You taking this thing a little too far. Yo, Ma, what the fuck are you doing? Tone asked as he watched Peaches get a glass and put it up to the wall in order to hear better. It's amazing how that actually really works. What the fuck do it? What the fuck do it look like I'm doing? She asked sarcastically. It looks like you're being nosy, Tone replied. You supposed to be over here sucking my dick and fucking me. What the fuck do I pay you for? You supposed to be paying me the attention, he said, mumbling to himself, not really meaning it, but still not understanding her. Unbeknownst to Tone, Peaches herself was victim of domestic violence. A short time ago, Peaches was brutally beaten by her boyfriend on a regular basis, needing an emergency room treatment. She remembered all the times people would just walk by as if nothing was happening to her. Peaches had promised herself, like every other woman of domestic violence, that if she ever saw anything like that happening to somebody else, she'd do what she could to stop it. Peaches, you need to mind your business. That's a man's and a woman's business. They not bothering you, Tone said as Peaches rolled her eyes and ignored him. Now I'm gonna pause right here for a quick moment because I will say, the women in Baltimore, for the most part, whether you've been a victim of domestic violence or not, will get involved in a domestic quick. The women will before the men. I've been known myself to like jump in the middle, or if I hear something going on in my neighbors that just don't sound right, I even get the man that's in the bed with me to like go with me to break it up or to calm it down or whatever. I won't call the popo unless it's necessary. But I can't say that about the women in Baltimore generally. Um, they don't go for that type of shit. And they won't go get their cousins, their male cousins and daddies and shit. They'll get a group of women to come beat your ass for real. All right, I'm gonna continue reading. But I just wanted to make that statement about Baltimore. Continuing his torture, Black beat and stomped Netta till she lost consciousness. Now look what you made me do. No, excuse me. Now look what you made Black do, he said. The entire time he was beating her, he was also scolding her. I bet you won't take nothing else from Black, will you, bitch? He asked, waiting for an answer that would never come. Taking her silence as disrespect, Black repeatedly lashed her again and again for ignoring him. Oh, you don't got nothing to say. You want to play sheep, do you? Well, Black got something that'll wake your ass right up. He threw down his bloody weapon and unzipped his pants. Pulling out his penis, he urinated on her head, further degrading her. Even after that, he wasn't finished. He continued to methodically beat and taunt her mercilessly until he heard someone banging on the next wall. Yo, Peaches, calm the fuck down, Tone said after watching her beat on the wall. Peaches stopped and quickly began to put on her clothes. Where the fuck are you going? Asked Tone. Next door, she said with defiance. This is unfucking believable. This just ain't my night. I came here to get my shit off, and now we playing save the day. Man, I'm not getting in the middle of no boyfriend-girlfriend disputes. That peacemaker always gets hurt. Yo, I'm not risking my life for somebody I don't even know, he said, trying to convince her with logical reason. Oh, nigga, you just scared, Peaches said, challenging his manhood. Just to prove her wrong, Tone rushed and got dressed, following her out the door. The thumps on the wall had brought Black back to his senses. Paranoid that someone might have called the police, he grabbed his things and hastily left. He'd finish her off when some other time. But right now, he had to go. With Peaches leading the way, they went next door, narrowly missing Black fleeing the scene of the crime. Noticing the door was ajar, Tone pulled Peaches back and he stepped forward, taking charge of the situation. He knocked on the door firmly and waited for a response from inside. When none came, he knocked again. This time, the force of the knock pushed the door open wider, and there in the middle of the floor was a body. An unrecognizable nude Black female laid sprawled out in a pool of blood and urine. Her long hair covered her face. Standing behind Tone, Peaches peeked around him, looking and searching the room as her eyes found the body. Hollering and screaming, she began to cry and ran back into their room to call 911. Cautiously, Tone walked toward the body. His eyes darted back and forth, alert for any signs of danger. Finding none, he bent down and checked the woman's wrist for vital sounds. He found a weak pulse. He put his hand over her mouth. Good, she's still breathing, he thought. He pulled out his cell phone and called 911. The smell and odor from the room was putrid. Tone could barely stand it. He felt like he was about to throw up. Her shirt, her body, the blood all made his stomach sick. While his eyes secured the room, he saw a purse on the night table. Curiosity of identity led him to the table. With the condition she was in, he wanted to notify her family of what happened. Digging around her purse, Tone came across a wallet. He pulled it out and turned on the lamp to get a good look at the driver's license. Netta Jackson. His mouth dropped as he looked at the DMV photo. Oh shit, this is Netta. A strange twist of fate had brought them together. They were destined to be together this night after all. Tone had no idea of the capacity. With Netta fighting for her life, Tone never left her side. He accompanied her to the hospital inside the ambulance, holding her hand the entire time. It was Tone that notified the pussy pound of the brutal assault. Like a concerned lover, Tone waited around with Mimi, Rashida, Fela, and Petey, whilst Netta underwent emergency surgery to stop the internal bleeding. It was Tone who the doctor told the extent of her injuries to. The operation we performed was successful. We were able to stop the hemorrhaging, which is good news. The bad news is she's not regained consciousness, as she went into shock, but her vitals are rapidly improving. I believe she will make it. She's a strong young lady. They all collectively breathed a sigh of relief. As they huddled around the doctor, their prayers had been answered. Now, let me ask you a question. Who in the hell did that to her and why? Asked the doctor, ready to help aid the police in any way possible. That question weighed heavily on everybody's mind. Who could have done this? And why? The only person that could tell them was Netta.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. First off, can't play me, I ain't no Xbox. I'm pulling up, busting windows. I'm at your mama's spot, kicking cups, smacking dice. I'll make this block hot. No trapping here, slacking where? Wait, get your home right. I'm sick and tired of fucking crying and sleepless nights. Bitches approaching me, telling me they don't know of me. Oh, you think you slick? You think you got one up? You better ask my last nigga, cut his ass right up. Yeah, can't cry but spill milk if I knew it was rotten. And all these memories we had, they was quickly forgotten. Oh, this nigga think he's smooth, he tryna cast it over me. Keep him lying through his teeth, leave his ass like Emily B. No pink turtlenecks, but I'm feeling bad. You left, I can't let him go, but watch me loosen up. My grip, I'm hopping in my bank. I'm talking about that go off. Shit, I need a couple bags. Ain't talking about no go yard. Bitch, you geeking for. I'm really about to drag and go and cry no more. I had to tell that nigga stop playing with me before they find this picture on murder me. Be more careful with me. I ain't like these other bitches that you used to better. That's the way you handling me. I told his ass be careful with me. He better be more careful with me. I ain't like these other bitches that you used to better. That's the way you handling me.
Okay, my darlings, that has been another installment of Be More Careful by Shannon Holmes. We are now 80% through the book. We are up to chapter 21, part 3. It's part 3 in the book, chapter 21. I just want to thank you all for coming through and sitting with me while I revisit this work of art that Shannon Holmes put to paper. I would like to thank him. If you like what you hear and you're new here, please hit that subscribe button, share it, thumbs it up, hit that notification bell, all the good stuff. If you have suggestions for future books, because we are nearing the end of this, we have approximately 56 pages, I believe, left to read. I'm not sure how many chapters that is, okay? But we're nearing the end, okay? So if you all have any other books you'd like me to read, or you find interesting, let me know. Holler at me. Put them in my comment section. But for now, this is what it is. I hope you enjoyed it. It's getting hot, ain't it? It's getting real hot. Welcome to Be More, bitches. I love y'all.